Hello, you beautiful people. Today I'm going to talk about another learning methodology, which is thinking-based learning. First, I want to give you a formal definition for this approach. A method of teaching and learning where the teaching of a specific thinking skill is infused into the teaching of content or subject matter. Let me make it a little bit clear. You may say that, okay, thinking is everywhere. I understand. That means when you try to solve some trigonometry question in mathematics or biology or chemistry and art, you are using thinking. Or your daily life, you use thinking. You receive some informations from people. Those information that looks better for you, you just accept them and process them and make your decision based on them. But what I'm trying to say here is a little bit different. Here in this teaching approach, we're talking about thinking itself, regardless of the subject matter. It doesn't matter you're applying that thinking to mathematics or biology or chemistry or art or something else. No, it's not about the subject. It's about the thinking itself. And I give you more example to make this very clear. We try to raise scientists, engineers, and artists that at the same time, they are also philosopher in their field of study. When you call yourself a philosopher, that means you're a person that you can just step back and look at the whole concept and thinking about it and raising interesting questions. This is fundamental skill, especially when I give you some example, it will be more clear. But I want to understand that thinking itself isn't a skill. And I strongly believe that we're not getting enough practices within our school because it's heavily based on memorization and remembering and just understanding how to use the formula and the concept and then go to the exam. It's not about thinking why at the first place this is stuff created and how you will do it if you are in the position of those people in the story of science and humankind. So let me give you some example and then I'll make this clear. I'll give you 3 examples. Let's first of all, we train our students with biology. For example, we teach them human body, and then we talk about human parts. For example, we tell them this is face, these are eyes, nose, mouth, and then we explain to them what this stuff they do and why we need them and how they do the procedure of the breathing and looking and all this kind of stuff. But in thinking-based learning, when we explain these facts and information, which typically we ask the student to go and memorize and go to the exam, we don't do that. What we do is we say, okay, hold on a moment, everybody. What if human never had nose? How could be the life? Do we need breathing? Is there any other way we do the breathing? There are animals we don't know and what they do for breathing. Or ask questions like, imagine an alien form of life that living in another kind of planet that doesn't have oxygen. How will be the breathing? Try to understand that. In this position, we put the students in the position of creator of life, for example, and they have to think and decide. They have to use imagination. They have to think. This is exercise for thinking. It's not about biology. It's about thinking like a biologist in the biology subject matter. This makes them a biologist and philosopher in the biology. Same goes for other subjects. So this is very interesting and different concept. Another example is, let's say we're teaching students about Einstein and the paper he published in early 19th century. But this time we ask the student, okay, hold on a moment. Imagine you're back in this story. You are in the time of Einstein and you're living and working in the patent office. So you're faced with these facts. What you will do? Try to simulate the universe again through the Einstein perspective. In this time, the student, they have chance to be an Einstein and maybe they come up with a different aspect. This is again thinking. Push you to think like Einstein, not just learn and memorize what Einstein did. The third example is like history class. We teach a student with a lot of history. For example, we teach them about Napoleon and the Waterloo War. But in this case, we ask the students, do you think his decision was wise or good or bad or whatsoever? Can I ask you to imagine you are Napoleon and you are in the war, try to make different decisions or try to win the war. In this case, thanks to technology, there are a lot of games and simulators that the students can sit down and try to understand the situation, try to simulate the real life. This is really interesting because they poke the brain to think and process and thinking and thinking. Purpose is not teaching you Napoleon. Purpose is not, the primary purpose. The primary purpose is to engage your brain with thinking. So if you are in such a kind of a school, eventually you will be a person that your brain you became like a kind of a person, go to the gym, strong muscle, your brain will be like that. That means the thinking ability, the thinking skill will be very interesting and smart and proper. Let me give you an example now. What will happen typically when we don't have this? What are damages that we experience in our life about this? I will give you two simple examples. Uh, Look at this. The today school, we go to school, we memorize, and we get ready for exam date. How is exam date? It's just 1 hour exam, and you have to be very fast. So you have to be able to make fast decisions. There's no any place for thinking in the exam. Whoever can remember faster and write faster, even writing skill matters, or online today, then you are the winner. So try to see what is happening. We're raising a generation that we are sending them the message that you have to make decision fast and do not think. And eventually there will be people, they make hasty decision in their life. And many times they get feeling of regret of what they have done because they never trained to think properly, but they trained to make fast decisions. And that's one of the big problems. Number two is look at the marketing industry. Many times marketing industry shows or present many bad products, but in a different way. And people, they don't think and they just buy it and they just do it. This is again another damage of lack of thinking properly, or political election and voting. And every time we vote and every time we make mistake, there is something behind this concept, and that is thinking. In thinking based learning, we try to make people a philosopher, try to think, ask difficult and fundamental questions rather than looking to the surface. So thinking itself is what we're trying to achieve in thinking based learning, not math, not biology, not chemistry. They are in the second level. Thinking itself. This is much, much better than today's education model that we have thousands of graduated students every month, every day, and they just come up with a lot of information in their brain, but they don't know how to think and how to apply it in a proper way. Even if you know how to apply it, but thinking is something very different. This is thinking-based learning. I hope you enjoyed from this. See you in next video.